Hey guys, Robert back at it. Today I wanted to start a new series talking about things that I've experienced that are scary. I grew up in Independence, Kansas mainly. We hopped around, but most of the time of my adolescence was spent in Independence, Kansas. Right now I live in Hollywood. It's a lot different. A lot more things to do, opportunities. Anyway, growing up, we lived here, we lived there. We ended up moving into this 3 bedroom apartment right across the street from my middle school. And, it's kind of embarrassing, everybody knowing exactly where you live. As a kid, you find things like embarrassing that as you get older, you don't really see like quite as embarrassing. Anyway, so we move in. I got the room all the way in the back. The room's closer to like the front door, the front of the house. My sisters, I have 2 sisters. Well, then I had 2 sisters. I have 4 now. And I was raised by my mom. Um, so I was all the way in the back. I started to notice over time, and I was a dingbat growing up, that my sisters, even though they had their own rooms, they started to sleep in the living room. Even my mom. Now, I wasn't good with pattern recognition or anything back then, but I knew my sister. She was the type that I was scared to death of, like horror movies and scary movies growing up. If you watch my Darkness Falls video, you'll see a glimpse of that. But, she was no chicken. So after about maybe 1 month living in this place, my mom, she started sleeping in the living room. My younger sister, she's 5 years younger than me. She's in her mid, no, 6, 7 years younger than me. She's in her mid 20s now. No, I'm sorry, late 20s. Uh, and then my older sister, who's a year older than me. So when they all started sleeping in the living room, I never thought to ask why, but I probably should have. So the first time like anything ever happened to me was I was laying in bed, and like a all white, it looked like a ghost or like a spirit, just flew right in my face while I was laying down. And after it did that, my bed started shaking. So I get up, I look at the bed, it stopped shaking. So back then, I'll give you a little bit more context. I played basketball. I was lifting weights a lot. So, homework and everything, girlfriends. I had a lot like on my plate. So I didn't really, think too much about stuff like that. That's the best way I could explain it. So around that time, the doors would slam close. Um, my mom would say it had to do with like the air like circulating, but all of our doors would slam closed, and we would, pretty much keep every like window and door like shut. So that really didn't even make sense because there's no like real like air circulating like that. Also, my closet door would shake. Later on, my sister, she would tell me that her closet door would shake all the time. Um, then the next incident was one day I was taking a shower, and the shower curtain, it moved in a way that I didn't think it should have moved. And then that same like spirit showed up for just like 1 second and then just flew off while I was in the shower. I was about 12 years old. So, I ran out of the shower as fast as I could. I put some clothes on. I went inside my room, thought about it for a minute, and then got right back in the shower. I know a lot of people that hear that, they're probably like, man, I would have left that house or something of that nature. But yeah, I guess I just had a really short term memory. So after that, the next incident, it was months after that. I was lifting weights and then my TV just randomly turned off. So I put the weights down. I tried to turn the TV back on. It wouldn't come on. So I got back to lifting weights. The TV turned back on, but it was, when the screen is like white and gray, and it was extremely loud. I went to turn the TV down. It turned off again. So I'm like, what the hell is going on? I picked the remote control up, kept trying to turn it back on. I tried to turn it on by the actual TV. It turned on again really like loud in my face, volume all the way up, and just scared the crap out of me. Then I was home alone at this point in time. Then I heard some like banging in the kitchen. So I'm just freaking out. I'm, really paranoid, looking around. I don't know what to think. Eventually, my mom and sisters came home, but it was very scary. Another time, I'm laying in bed. The bed just starts randomly shaking. I get up. I look around. I look at the bed. Then my older sister, whose room is in the front of the house, her door slams closed. I, was a pretty like messy kid at around that time. My closet, I had like a really small closet. Uh, the door wouldn't even close. I had so much crap like piled in, and just randomly, the door like went to like move, even though it was open because it had so much shit like blocking it from closing. So, not long after that, I ended up coming to live in California. Years later, I talked to my sisters about like everything that happened to me, and they told me what happened to them. And if I would have known what was going on with them, I would have started sleeping in the living room as well. My older sister, she held out for the longest, but she said her closet door would shake, the temperature would drop all of a sudden, and a couple of times she'd seen things. My younger sister said like her toys would go off on their own, and her closet door shook sometimes, so she started sleeping in the living room. My mom, she was home alone one day, and she heard a toy go off in my little sister's room. So she went to look, and she said right when she was opening the door to go into my little sister's room, she heard a loud bang in the kitchen. So she said she got out of the house. She started running, and it was snowing outside. She fell in the snow. And, when they got finished telling me like their stories, they looked at me and they were like, "What happened to you? Did anything happen to you?" I was like, "Yeah." And I told them I pretty much had it the worst. And they were like, "You didn't know that it was haunted?" And then I was like, "No, you guys didn't tell me." And then they were like, "Yeah, but everything that happened to you, it was obviously haunted. Like, what's wrong with you?" And I remember thinking to myself, if I was older, that probably would the first, thing that happened to me, I would have, acted accordingly. But back then I was just so busy, so you know, thoughtless. I guess you would almost say that it just didn't click. So, yeah, I'm probably one of the few dummies living in a haunted house and, just doing, going about my everyday life. It was funny because a lot of the time I would have like girlfriends and we talk on the phone and stuff, and I tell them like little things like what just happened like hours ago, and they'd be like, "Wow, it sounds like your house is haunted," and I'd be like, "No, probably just in my head." But yeah, that's one of my scary stories growing up. Hope you guys liked it. Over and out.